Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. A disaster that occurred on February 17th, 2025 at Toronto Airport, Canada, is going viral on the internet through video clips. It's such a terrifying scene that you can guess how serious it is just by looking at it. The plane has flipped upside down and passengers are running out of the plane. Let's try to understand the whole case in this video. At 12:37 p.m., a CRJ 700 plane took off from Minneapolis International Airport in the US as Delta Connection Flight 4819. The plane was carrying 76 passengers and 4 crew members. This plane was supposed to land at Toronto Airport in Canada. Everything was going fine on the plane, and gradually it reached an altitude of 29,000 feet. The pilot set the plane to autopilot, and the plane continued its journey toward Toronto Airport. It was around 1:05 p.m. when the plane entered the airport's airspace. Now, the plane needed to align with the runway, but there was an issue. The altitude of the plane was way too high. By the time it was at an altitude of 14,000 feet, the plane's altitude had dropped to 10,000 feet, which was still quite high. Landing at this altitude was almost impossible. Whenever a plane is about to land and its altitude is too high, it needs to perform a go-around, meaning the plane must fly around the airport and gradually descend until it aligns with the runway and is at the correct altitude, known as the glide slope. Delta Air's plane performed a go-around, flying 27 kilometers away from the runway while descending to 3,000 feet. After that, the plane attempted to realign with the runway. To explain further, Toronto Airport has 5 runways, all equipped with ILS, Instrument Landing System, a technology that can assist with automatic landing. However, it seems the pilot of Delta Air attempted to land manually, causing the altitude of the plane to fluctuate. The pilot was manually controlling the descent and alignment with the runway. During the landing attempt, something happened that caused the plane to crash. Although there are no clear photos or videos, a CCTV clip emerged, but it is unclear. The plane crashed in such a way that it flipped upside down, with the top side facing down and the bottom facing up. Fortunately, all passengers and crew members managed to escape from the plane using emergency exits. One passenger filmed the incident with their camera. The good news is that all passengers and crew members were safe and out of the plane, though 17 people were injured and are currently receiving treatment. The crash occurred on the runway, so firefighters arrived immediately to extinguish any fires. Now, let's understand how this happened. Before moving forward, I must tell you that this is not an official report, but rather my opinion based on the videos and photos I reviewed. According to Flight Radar 24, the plane was indeed heading toward the airport, but its altitude was 10,000 feet, so it had to go around. After flying 27 kilometers away, it descended to 3,000 feet and tried to align with the runway. This is the real flight path of the plane, and we can see that before landing, the altitude of the plane fluctuated, and the graph shows a sharp downward movement. This sudden descent increased the speed of the plane from 110 knots to 122 knots. Based on these clues, it's possible that the pilot was manually flying the plane, or perhaps the plane was using ILS for landing, but the wind direction might have changed suddenly. According to weather reports, When the plane was at an altitude of 3,000 feet, the wind speed was 28 knots, which later increased to 35 knots, with snow falling and temperatures around 14 degrees Celsius. About 20 minutes later, the wind speed decreased to 20 knots. This variation in wind speed over a short time could have played a significant role in the crash, though we'll have to wait for the official report to confirm. From these clips, we can see that one of the wings of the plane was torn off, and the tail section was also damaged. In one of the videos, we can see a water spray coming from the center fuselage of the plane, as there is a small fuel tank in this section, which could pose a danger if it catches fire. Another clip shows passengers fleeing the scene, and some passengers are even seen retrieving their belongings, which is highly inappropriate. The first priority in such situations should be to exit the plane as quickly as possible, regardless of the importance of documents or belongings. Firefighters would eventually retrieve any personal items once the situation is under control. In these photos, we can observe that the plane's front landing gear is still attached, but the right rear wheel and wing are missing. The tail part is also missing. Looking at these photos, it seems the plane made a hard landing, meaning it hit the ground with significant force. Since the plane's right wing and right wheel were detached, it likely tilted to the right during the landing. Afterward, it skidded on the snow and flipped over due to the lack of support on the right side. The good news is that the plane didn't catch fire, which could have been due to several reasons. First, the CRJ 900 model has both engines installed at the tail, and fire risks are lower in this configuration. Second, since the wing detached, it was no longer connected to the plane, preventing fire hazards from reaching the passengers. Third, Toronto Airport frequently experiences snow, and the friction on the snow reduces the chances of a fire starting. Fourth, there might have been a short circuit that caused some smoke inside the cabin, but the firefighters controlled it in time. For now, the plane has been declared a total loss, meaning it will not be used again, and its parts will not be repurposed for another plane. That's the complete story of the Delta air crash. I hope you found this video informative. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, feel free to dislike it, but make sure to subscribe to the channel because there's a lot to learn here. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep watching and learning.